This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning there. I'm Michelle Chamberlain.
I'm Bill Bryant. It's Friday and it's April 1st. Keep that in mind. Don't get pranked today. We're glad you're with us.
Now at 6, with no budget deal in sight, Governor Bevin has ordered immediate funding cuts to all Kentucky public colleges and universities. We're live on UK's campus with reaction.
Also on WKYT, new details about the robbery of a veteran in Lexington. His accused attacker is preparing to go to court today, and we've learned some new information.
And a look at the damage caused by strong storms that rolled across Kentucky.
And we have the showers out and about early this morning. Some heavier downpours, but for the most part, just some light showers making their way across the region with that front. That front continues to drop those temperatures. Later on this afternoon, we're talking lower 60s, but what about your weekend? A hard freeze is possible. I'll show you that coming up.
And let's get right to the news here on your Friday morning.
Kentucky's public colleges and universities are waking up this morning to learn that Governor Matt Bevin has ordered funding cuts to take effect immediately.
The governor's move comes as negotiations over a state budget between the Kentucky House and the Senate broke down. The sticking points are the funding for education and the pension program as well, where to put the money. WKYT's Mark Barber is live on UK's campus taking a closer look at the governor's decision. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Bill. When these education cuts were on the table just as a proposal, UK's president was one of the most outspoken critics, saying that it would be extremely challenging for the university to manage the proposed cuts. Well, we are about to find out just how challenging it will be for these universities, because this morning all the state leaders, all the school leaders are waking up trying to figure out where and how they will cut 4.5% of their schools' budgets. Now, many people are worried that this could somehow impact students if schools end up raising their tuition rates to offset these spending cuts. Now, while that has not happened yet, UK officials tell our news partners at the Herald Leader that they are still trying to figure out what measures the university will take. Morehead State University has already announced that they are mandating a 5-day furlough for university employees. Governor Matt Bevin ordered the 4.5% spending cut yesterday when the House and the Senate became stuck in a stalemate over the budget. Republicans say that the cuts are needed to start paying down the state's pension debt, but Democrats are concerned that the education cuts will damage our universities. After talks to approve the budget fell through yesterday, Bevin went ahead and ordered state schools to slash their budgets by 4.5% immediately. Now, there has been a considerable amount of backlash to the governor's executive order, and we'll be taking an in-depth look at that coming up on WKYT News at 6:30. So not only will we have some of the backlash, but we're also going to take a look at the governor's response to the criticism. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you very much. Budget cuts to higher education could threaten the 65-year partnership Kentucky has with another state. Since Kentucky does not have a veterinary school, the state partners with Auburn University to offer 38 students in-state tuition. But the Kentucky Veterinary Association says Bevin's tuition cuts will mean just 22 students will now be allowed in. KVMA President Dr. Alice Mills says she fears losing more of those in-state seats every year, eventually making it unaffordable for Kentuckians to go to vet school.
We're not just taking care of puppies and kittens. We're the people who are in the front line that are keeping our food safe and our public safe.
Students have to finalize their commitments to the veterinary school by April 15th, even though a state budget may still be in limbo at that time.
He's accused of robbing a man of donations meant for disabled veterans. This morning, we're learning new details about how police say he pulled off the crime as the suspect prepares to face a judge. WKYT's Caitlin Sintner is live in Lexington with new information this morning. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning, Michelle. David Kirk Jr. is expected in Fayette County Court later today. He stands accused of robbing a veteran last week. The 38-year-old, as I said, is accused of robbing volunteering veteran Rodney Brock outside the Walmart on New Circle Road. Brock says a man walked up to him at the Veterans Outreach table and he could tell that the man didn't want to donate. But what followed after that, he didn't expect. He says the man went to steal a bucket full of money and that the man was armed with a gun. The bucket was bolted to the table, so the robber threw the table and all into his truck and then made a quick getaway. police issued a warrant for Kirk. Now, Kirk's wife told police that he had told her he had done something stupid and admitted to her he took the bucket outside of Walmart. We talked to the veteran who tried to stop the robber. He says he doesn't have any animosity toward him. Now, Brock does say he's excited to go back and volunteer at that same Walmart next week, and he's just excited to have that opportunity again after what had happened. Live in Lexington, Caitlin Setner, WKYT.
Thank you, Caitlin. Now, a wrongful death lawsuit has been filed over the death of a Whitley County child who was hit by his school bus. 10-year-old Jonathan Chapman died last year when police say a Whitley County school bus hit him after he stepped off the bus. In the lawsuit, his parents claim he died because the bus operator was negligent and reckless manner. More than a dozen defendants are named in the lawsuit, including the superintendent, school board, and bus driver. The lawsuit asks for a trial by jury and damages in the form of medical expenses and pain and suffering.
Coming up on 6 minutes after 6 on WKYT this morning, Kentucky United States Senator Rand Paul claims he'll be making a, quote, major endorsement announcement later today. Through his official Twitter account, Senator Paul also claimed the announcement would be what he says huge, a term that Republican frontrunner Donald Trump often uses. Senator Paul dropped out of the presidential race earlier this year. He has yet to endorse any of the remaining candidates. Keep in mind today is April Fool's Day, and it's worth noting that Senator Paul has been known to use social media as a way to joke around. So we'll see what he says on Twitter later today.
Should be interesting.
Central Kentucky has largely been spared from last night's storms that raked across parts of the Commonwealth. It did bring severe damage to some parts of the state.
Southwest of Louisville, part of the roof of Breckinridge County Middle School blew off. Students were inside at the time, but no one was hurt. The school did not release students for the day until that storm did pass. Now, school leaders say they have a big mess to clean up.
At some point, we assume straight line winds hit our gymnasium area, and as you can see, pulled the roof back. There's quite a bit of water damage on the floor.
The same storm also damaged some homes at a nearby mobile home park. First responders say 2 people were injured there.
In eastern Kentucky, strong winds damaged a fire department and a nearby home. The Lotts Creek Volunteer Fire Department near the Perry-Knott County line lost part of its roof. Firefighters say a bay door was also damaged. Fortunately, nobody hurt in that. And things have calmed down for now as we check weather.
Now, your zone-by-zone forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Still have a few showers outside, especially in our eastern zones, east of I-75. That's where we're still looking at those showers. Some heavier downpours as you work your way southbound, just south of the Hal Rogers Parkway. If you make your way up 421, and that's going through the Helton community, Moselle, all the way to Hoskinston, and then eventually sliding into Hyden across 421, that's some pretty heavy rain. Is it sliding eastbound? That means next in line is going to be Perry County southern half is actually getting that. And most of this is staying just to the south of the Hal Rogers Parkway, and it's going to slide eastbound. So next in line will be Knott County after Perry County. So if you're sitting in Pippa Passes, you're sitting in Hindman, heads up, it's heading your direction. Temperatures are in the 60s down south, some 50s up northbound. It's not a bad feel though. I mean, some cooler air is filtering in, but this isn't cold air, not yet. We hit the weekend, and that's going to change. Watch your hour-by-hour forecast. You get into the afternoon, we're at 5 p.m., and you see temperatures there in the lower 60s. That's a pretty good feel. That's above average for this time of year, just a couple of degrees. And we stay mainly dry. And notice I'm saying mainly dry, not fully dry. The reason being we could have a few sprinkles far northern areas, up toward Mason County, Bracken, Lewis, green up those areas. Off into the evening and night, you have no problems heading out to eat. Looks pretty good. Now, we hit throughout your weekend. Drier air filters on in. Not only drier, but much cooler there for the weekend. And you're looking at lower to mid-50s both Saturday and Sunday. So if you have any plans outdoors, just know you might have to take a light coat with you. But that's about it. I mean, we stay dry for the most part. Small chance of rain on Saturday. And then Sunday, the big talker is that hard freeze on Sunday morning. Green thumb alert, heads up. As we get off towards your weekend, looks like we can get temperatures there in the upper 20s, lower 30s. How cool are these shots? This is Amy Boyd. Really, really neat shot. Panoramic view, beautiful rainbow, double rainbow. That's such a cool shot. We appreciate that, Amy. Another neat thing that a lot of people saw yesterday, mammatus clouds. That's from Combs Ferry Road, and that's there in Winchester, off in Clark County. Regina Moyer What a cool shot right there. So you had mammatus clouds yesterday. You also had those double rainbows that I've been showing pictures of. I think I've shown probably 20 pictures so far. And I'm going to show a few more before we hit the 7 o'clock hour, but really neat shots.
Yeah, Bill actually stayed up late last night to look at the rainbow.
Yeah, he did.
Posted a picture on Twitter. I can't believe he was awake.
Living on the edge at 8 p.m., Bill. I'm proud of
Living
you, my
dangerously,
man.
right?
All night long.
It's gotta live life sometime, right?
Thank you so much, Micah. Each morning we bring you weather and traffic together. Here's Officer Don with a look at what's happening on the roads. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, no wrecks, just wet roads that we're dealing with on the circle at least this morning. On the inner and outer loops, we just check things from Richmond Road over to Nicholasville Road, and everything in between seems to be moving okay. Let's get a live look outside at what's happening as far as traffic flow is concerned this morning. For the most part, in pretty good shape. Drive times, we should be okay coming in from Nicholasville at the moment. Also, no problems coming in from Versailles across the Woodford County line. We're looking good past the airport and even North Broadway, Paris Pike, all that moving without any trouble. We'll keep you up to date throughout the morning. Now back to in the studio.
Don, we know you will. Really appreciate it. Officer Don and Deanna on 98.1 The Bull, no doubt, already up and having some fun. So check them out when you ride in this morning. 6:11 now here on WKYT this morning. Good morning to you again. We're glad you're with us today.
Tesla unveils its new affordable electric car, but find out why buyers will have to wait to get behind the wheel of the new Model 3.
Also, details on Donald Trump's latest move to try and bounce back from some controversial comments about women and abortion. Those stories and more on the way on WKYT.
Kentucky mornings start here. You're watching WKYT this morning.
Glad you are. Welcome back in.
Good morning to you. Days before Wisconsin's crucial primary contest, Donald Trump met with Republican Party leaders in Washington.
That meeting follows a series of tumultuous days on the presidential campaign trail for Trump. Don Champion has the latest on campaign 2016.
Donald Trump is still trying to clarify his controversial remarks on abortion. Appearing on Fox News last night, the Republican frontrunner suggested MSNBC edited the town hall during which he asserted women should be punished for having abortions if the procedure were to become illegal.
You really had to hear the whole thing. I mean, this was a long, convoluted question. This was a long discussion, and they just cut it out.
In a statement, MSNBC maintained absolutely no part of the exchange between Trump and Chris Matthews was edited out. The issue followed Trump to Washington yesterday as he met with GOP leaders to discuss party unity and delegate allocation. Rival Ted Cruz is leading Trump in Wisconsin, where he's counting on a win in next week's primary.
There's no doubt that Donald Trump is the Kim Kardashian presidential candidate. He sits on Twitter and makes a lot of noise, but he has no solutions to fixing the problem.
Trump also trails both Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders among registered women voters. Clinton bashed Trump in New York yesterday and set herself apart from Sanders on women's rights.
I know Senator Sanders supports a woman's right to choose, but I also know Planned Parenthood Action Fund and NARAL endorse me because I have led on this issue.
Sanders is ahead of Clinton in Wisconsin, but still trails her by a wide margin in the delegate count. Don Champion, CBS News.
And the presidential candidates make a final campaign push in Wisconsin this weekend before turning their full attention to New York's primary, which is coming up April 19th.
State police in Virginia are mourning the loss of one of their own. 37-year-old Chad Durmeyer died yesterday when a man he had been talking to during a training exercise in Richmond shot him multiple times. The gunman was shot dead by other troopers on the scene. A woman is in custody after allegedly kidnapping a baby boy from a mall in Pennsylvania. The 7-week-old was found safe last night, hours after he was taken. Police say the suspect took off with him after befriending the boy's family. Tornadoes have hit Alabama, Louisiana, and Mississippi as severe storms rumbled through parts of the South. County Emergency Management says that in Alabama, tornadoes touched down in the northern part of the state and also in the central region. There are no immediate reports of damage or any injuries. The National Weather Service confirms that 2 tornadoes touched down in southeastern Louisiana, bringing down trees and power lines, but causing no injuries.
The time this morning is 6:18 here on WKYT, and the wait is finally over for fans who want to get a glimpse of Tesla's newest electric car. Even though the Model 3 won't be available until late 2017, Tesla says it already has more than 115,000 reservations. It has a starting price of $35,000. The car is less than half the cost of previous models. CEO Elon Musk says the car will go at least 200 miles when it is fully charged. Well, the skies could someday be crowded with delivery drones, and Amazon wants to make sure that we don't get hit by them. So now they're going to make noise. The company has filed a patent for a talking drone. These propellers would make these sounds, warning noises, and shout out phrases to alert people on the ground. For instance, the drone could say, "Watch out," that sort of thing. Okay, you look forward to that, right? One Ohio bar set is set to open up this summer and is taking its inspiration from the New York Stock Exchange. Queen City Exchange, just up the road in Cincinnati, will have 41 beers on tap and plans to price them dynamically. Just like stocks, the more popular a brew, the higher the price will be. That means a deal, of course, on less popular beers. And it is April Fool's Day, and some businesses are getting in on the action. Esurance is offering election insurance to protect your home for 4 years if you decide to move to Canada after the 2016 presidential election. Retailer Kohl's joked that it is going to replace shopping carts with flying hover trolleys. And Softstar Shoes, based in Oregon, says that it will sell Jolt sneakers that send a jolt of electricity to people who need some help to get moving. So maybe those would work for us in the morning around here, right?
Yeah, I could definitely use some Jolt sneakers. How about you, Micah?
There you go. He already has Jolt sneakers.
Yeah, he does every morning, right? WKYT This Morning is just getting started. Another inmate has escaped from Lexington's prison. See who police are looking for coming up at 6:30.
That cooler air rushing on in here. It's going to be an active pattern as we head throughout the next 7 days in terms of the ups and downs. We'll talk all about that forecast coming up.
6:20 on WKYT this morning. As daybreak is about to come to our nation's capital, there's a look in Washington. We'll be back on WKYT This Morning.
Welcome back to WKYT This Morning. Your time is 6:23. Governor Matt Bevin has ordered immediate 4.5% cuts to in-state funding to all public colleges and universities.
And that's what's trending at this hour. That order comes as state lawmakers are locked in a stalemate over a 2-year state spending plan. With no budget in place and time running out in the 2016 legislative session, it looks more and more likely a special session will be needed to come up with a budget. We'll see.
David Kirk Jr. will be arraigned today in Lexington. This morning, we learned that police say he had a gun when he robbed a volunteer of donations meant for disabled veterans. A veteran collecting money was injured while trying to stop Kirk.
Calm after the storms that raked across the Commonwealth last night. It's a pretty nice start to our Friday.
Yeah, it really does feel pretty good outside. It all depends on where you are. If you are east of I-75, if you get off toward the eastern areas, whether it's north, central, or southbound in the eastern zones, well, you still have some bits and pieces of rain, especially the heavy downpours that are making their way through southern Leslie County, southern Perry County, and now heading over toward Knott and also Letcher County. So that's kind of the area where you're getting some of the heavier rain, but other than that, it's just some light showers. Temperatures in the 50s for the most part. Once we hit the afternoon, we'll actually be there in the lower 60s. It's a pretty good day. I mean, you got to remember, typically our average high this time of year is in the upper 50s to around 60 degrees. So we're close to it, but a little bit above that. So it's not a bad feel with mostly cloudy skies. We head towards your weekend, guys. We're going to be talking about this hard freeze. Is it likely or just a small possibility? I'll have that coming up.
I know we get into April and it's colder than it was in parts of March. We had some good weather back there.
Hopefully it's a small possibility.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll see. Hopefully those temperatures come up just a little bit anyway. All right, there's a volcano east of Mexico City that has erupted this week.
Yeah, the volcano, which I'm not going to try to pronounce its name, is the second tallest volcano in Mexico. Its nickname, Don Jobio, it has registered more than 100 exhalations and 5 explosions in the past 24 hours.
All right.
Go to the movies, and in some theaters, you can have beer with your popcorn.
And soon you can try out popcorn-flavored beer.
Ugh,
little
gross.
combination there. Angie's Boom Chicka Boom. Let's see.
Say that again.
It's Boom Chicka Pop, Belgium style. Anyway, they have Farmhouse Popcorn Ale from Mankato Brewery. It's the latest creation of two relatively new Minnesota companies. Their signature personalities are rolled into the 16-ounce cans. The popcorn-flavored beer will go on sale this month.
Don't know if I would try that. You?
I don't know. I don't eat a lot of popcorn. 6:26 on WKYT this morning. Good to have you along on your Friday as we're rolling toward the weekend with more news.
When WKYT This Morning returns, details on a lawsuit against Donald Trump filed by 3 people who attended his presidential rally in Kentucky.
All of our top stories are coming up shortly. Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot is $135 million. Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is $50 million. And we're coming right back on WKYT.
This is WKYT This Morning.
It's Friday. Good morning. Welcome to WKYT This Morning. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain. It's Friday, April 1st, which also means it's April Fool's Day.
All right, keep that in mind. Now at 6:30, using executive action, Governor Matt Bevin has ordered immediate spending cuts in state funding to all public colleges and universities. We're live on the UK campus with a report on that this morning.
3 people who claimed they were attacked during a Donald Trump rally in Kentucky are now suing the GOP presidential frontrunner.
And reaction to news that a popular festival brings thousands of people into a historic Kentucky town every year has been canceled.
Then we're looking back toward the east, and that's where the showers are located. They're trying to move on. Now the cooler air is filtering on in, and that will take over definitely for the weekend. I'll show you how cold we get there for the weekend. A green thumb alert. Heads up. I'll have that coming up in just a few minutes.
Let's get to the news. Kentucky's public colleges and universities are waking up this morning to learn that Governor Matt Bevin has ordered funding cuts to take effect immediately.
The governor's move comes as negotiations over a state budget between the Kentucky House and Senate broke down. WKYT's Mark Barber is live on UK's campus, taking a closer look at the governor's decision. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Michelle. When the governor proposed cutting education back in January, UK's president called those cuts draconian. Well, this morning, as the president here at UK and many other state schools are waking up, they're trying to figure out how they will manage this steep 4.5% spending cuts that went into effect immediately yesterday. Now, many people are concerned that the cuts will somehow impact students in case these schools end up raising their tuition, increasing those rates there. Now, we still do not know what those cuts will mean for UK yet, because school leaders are still trying to figure out what measures they will take. When the budget talks between the House and the Senate fell apart yesterday, Bevin ordered state schools to slash their budgets immediately. Republicans say that the cuts could relieve some of the state's overwhelming pension debt. Democrats, however, think the cuts could seriously hurt our universities. House Democrats say they are now reviewing the governor's executive order. Bevin traded words with Kentucky Sports Radio's Matt Jones on Twitter last night when Jones tweeted that the governor's order would create depressing tuition hikes. Bevin responded with a link to an opinion piece in the Louisville Courier-Journal that highlighted wasted spending in universities. The governor ended the tweet by saying, "Move along now, kids." Universities this morning are now trying to figure out what they will do in order to move along. Again, there's still no word at this time about what that could look like here at the University of Kentucky, where again the president here said that these proposed cuts would create significant challenges for the university. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
All right, well, they'll obviously have to figure that out in the weeks ahead. And Morehead State University has already announced that they are mandating furloughs for university employees. The university staff and administrators will have to take 5 furlough days, one during each pay period between the end of April and the end of June. As for full-time faculty, they will receive a non-recurring salary reduction for the next school year that is equal to 5 contract days of pay. Now, stay up to date on the budget talks on WKYT.com or download our WKYT News app. We'll keep you informed there.
The search is on for an inmate who escaped from a Lexington prison. Staff at Blackburn Correctional Complex say 32-year-old Jason Arnold was reported missing last night. He was serving a 10-year sentence for theft, forgery, and evidence tampering convictions out of Madison County. Arnold would have been eligible for parole in August. The case against a man who was the alleged leader of a bourbon theft ring is expected to move forward today. The defense for Gilbert Kurtzinger and his wife Julie filed a motion to suppress all evidence obtained through 2 search warrants. The warrants led to 5 barrels of stolen wild turkey that investigators say they found on the Kurtzingers' property. The couple is on the Franklin County court docket for today.
3 people who claim they were assaulted at a Donald Trump rally in Louisville earlier this year are now suing the GOP presidential frontrunner. One of those protesters is just 17 years old. The other, a 21-year-old University of Louisville student, was seen being shoved by 2 people at the rally. WDRB-TV in Louisville says the lawsuit accuses a white supremacist and a Korean War veteran of assaulting the 3 protesters. It also alleges that Trump incited a riot at his rally by repeatedly calling for the protesters to be removed. To the disappointment of many, Berea's annual Spoonbread Festival will not be happening this year. The Berea Chamber of Commerce voted to cancel this year's festival. It's due to safety concerns following recent protests over the Confederate flag. City officials want the sale and the display of the Confederate flag to be banned from the festival. But the Chamber says they can't put that ban in place without an ordinance being enacted by the city. More than 60,000 people attended last year's Spoonbread Festival. Some businesses now fear they will lose thousands of dollars.
People from all over the state, just not Berea, people from out of state that come to it because they've heard about Spoonbread and they want to taste it.
McCormick there says all 63 rooms at the Boone Tavern have already been booked for what was supposed to be this festival weekend in September. He estimates the tavern could lose close to $15,000 now that the event has been canceled.
He's accused of robbing a man of donations meant for disabled veterans. This morning, we're learning new details about how police say he pulled off that crime as the suspect prepares to face a judge today. WKYT's Caitlin Sintner is live in Lexington with more details. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning, Michelle. David Kirk Jr. is expected here in court later this afternoon. This after he turned himself into police yesterday, accused of robbing disabled veterans last week. Now, police did have a warrant out for Kirk's arrest. Kirk's wife told police he had told her he did something stupid and admitted to her he had stolen a bucket outside of Walmart and that he was going to turn himself into police. It was last week that we first reported a man had robbed Veterans Outreach, stealing about $250 in his getaway. Veteran Rodney Brock says the man who robbed him had a revolver, but his initial reaction was to fight back and to save the money. Brock was injured in the altercation. He says the bucket was bolted to the table, so the robber took the table and all with him.
Money's gone. I'm sure the money's gone. We're not going to get the money back. But the thing of it is, I mean, that was really a cheap little thrill. And he could have got somebody bad hurt, especially with a gun in his hand. So I had no animosity toward that gentleman at all.
Brock will be returning to the same Walmart next week to volunteer there. He says he's just happy to have that opportunity again. Live in Lexington, Caitlin Sintner, WKYT.
Now we have a traffic alert this morning for drivers who use the Mountain Parkway. The westbound off-ramp at exit 22 in Powell County will be closed from 9 to 3 o'clock today. The closure is so that crews can resurface the ramps. Traffic will have to take exit 18 in Clay City and get back on the Parkway at exit 33 in Slade. You can use Kentucky 11 or Kentucky 15 to get to Stanton.
Unless you know some of the back roads, as some may.
I know, right? There will be a Kentucky men's basketball press conference this afternoon, but what will be discussed is still a mystery.
Really, and nobody's talking. Even our well-connected sports department doesn't know exactly what will be talked about at this so-called special announcement later on today. Regardless, we will stream the announcement live on WKYT.com. It'll be at 2 o'clock today, and you can find out with us what the UK basketball program has to say. Of course, we'll keep checking. If we find out, we'll let you know on air and online.
I know everyone's on the edge of their seats, right?
Interesting, yeah.
So let's get a check to see how traffic is moving along this morning with Officer Don. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, no wrecks. That's the great news. We just checked the circle again, and of course the roads are wet, but we're handling things just fine. North side of town, North Broadway in the circle, that turned out to be a stalled car there. Currently it's blocking the right lane. That should be cleared in the next few minutes. Let's get a look and we'll show you traffic flow as you get ready to head out the door to plan your drive on into work. From Nicholasville, Jessamine County, we're looking good. In fact, our drive times are pretty steady right now. 12 minutes or so coming in from Nicholasville. From Versailles across the county line, no major issues there as well, and we're looking good on Paris Pike. Right now, police are running radar near the Fayette-Bourbon County line, but no major impact on traffic. It's about an 18-minute ride. Now back to you in the studio.
All right, don't get yourself a ticket heading in this morning. Everybody get in there, get it done on this Friday, and get the latest traffic and weather information anytime with the WKYT Weather Plus Traffic app. You can download that for free in the App or Google Play stores. We have a lot more news coming up for you on your Friday, rolling toward the weekend here on WKYT.
He took the time to craft the perfect proposal, but things did not go as he planned. Find out what happened that left this groom-to-be soaked and sad.
Got the rain moving on out of eastern Kentucky. It's trying to push out, and once that pushes on out, then we're talking about pretty calm conditions the next few days, but our temperatures drop big time for the weekend.
The time is 6:40 as Lexington KY comes to life on your Friday morning. So good to have you along here on WKYT.
Get WKYT news and weather updates on Rewind 105.5. Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
So, we're looking out at about seeing that rain try to push on out of here, especially those eastern zones. Is the heavier downpours now rolling across 119 for some spots there in Letcher County? And that's about it for the heavier rain. So you're there in the far southern portions of Leslie County and also far southern portions of Perry County. That's a pretty heavy rain, and it's about to roll through Whitesburg here in just about 15-20 minutes. Sitting in Whitesburg, heads up. If you're sitting around Whitesburg, anywhere in Letcher County, heads up. Here comes some rain. London down south looking pretty good. Lexington, Frankfort, go off toward Jackson. I'm not seeing anything go on with temperatures there in the 50s. And then we go through your day. 62 by the afternoon, mostly cloudy skies. Once we get by 8 to 9 a.m., that's when the rain down southeast moves on out, and then we'll be mainly dry the rest of the day. Maybe a passing patchy drizzle here and there, but that's about it. Let's talk about your weekend, mid and low 50s. Now, both of those days look mainly dry. However, if we are going to see a chance of rain, it's going to be on Saturday, a very slight chance, especially for far northern Kentucky. But that hard freeze, that's going to be the talker as we travel off towards your weekend. That's going to be on Sunday morning as we start off in the upper 20s to lower 30s. Now, I have seen a warming trend with some of these temperatures past few days, so hopefully we can get those bumped up because some of these plants outside already blooming and it's already looking pretty nice. Yeah, here comes a hard freeze there on Sunday. That will not help out, that is for sure. So a cooler weekend, but nonetheless, it's not a bad weekend. Alex Nail sent this one in. How cool is this shot? She said, whoa, look at that sky. Those are Mattis clouds, and that's such a neat shot as those thunderstorms rolled on through. Alex, we appreciate that. This Twitter picks of the day, Micah Harris WX. Pick up your phone right now. Check out Micah Harris WX. Throw your picture on here. I show them off all the time. Stacy Russ, beautiful double rainbow. That's a really, really neat shot there in Lexington. Also on Micah Harris WKYT Facebook page, more Mattis clouds. That's from Brittany Reffert. And that's they're in Richmond late last night as those storms rolled on through. And this is such a cool shot. Those panoramic shots of these rainbows have been amazing that I've been showing off all morning long. Carmen Markham sent this one in from Richmond too. Really, really good shots from all you guys on my Facebook page and also Twitter page. Your 7-day forecast. Here is your look. The morning chance this morning, afternoon. Remember, maybe patchy drizzle far north, but that's about it. Temperatures there in the lower 60s. 50s for the weekend. It's all about the hard freeze, though, on Sunday morning, guys. We're looking for temperatures upper 20s to lower 30s. And like I said, yeah, trying to get all those plants inside that we have outside, planting those seeds already, you know that's a no-no. Yeah. You got to wait after the spring meet to actually do that. But, yeah, we got a few more weeks before you really need to do that.
Now they have to cover those plants, right? Sunday night?
You got to cover them, absolutely. And don't forget, our latest, or not latest, but our average last freeze is actually late April. Yeah. Okay, so that's average. So we still have about a month.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Look for the ghosts around your neighborhood over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, you'll see them with the sheets on.
Oh, the white sheets, yeah.
All right, 6:40. 6:46 is our time this morning.
It's one of life's most special moments, proposing marriage.
But for one Alabama man, his perfectly crafted proposal to his girlfriend was almost sunk. Greg used all of his life savings to get a ring to propose to his girlfriend. He met her at a pier at Fairhope, Alabama, with his best man filming all the way. He got down on one knee, as you see.
Oh, yeah. My goodness.
Look at that. Opened the box, and then things went horribly wrong.
Oh.
One perfect bounce sent that ring flying down into the bay.
First thing was, did that just happen?
Yeah, disbelief at first.
and we're thinking that we just saw some splash, that this was not real.
Now, Greg jumped in after the ring, quickly realized the current was too strong. His best man actually had to save him. The groom-to-be did not have any insurance on the ring that fell into the bay, but the jewelry store did offer Greg a deep discount on a new ring. So we'll have to maybe update you on that, but there you go.
Oh my goodness.
What a
Makes you
ruined
sick to your
day,
stomach, right? But they seem happy. They handled it well.
They did, and maybe they'll get a new ring and they'll move forward, I'm sure, right? Our time this morning is 6:47 on WKYT.
More news when we come back.
Coming up, the latest on deadly storms and tornadoes battering the southern U.S. We report from Mississippi. Plus, Bernie Sanders joins us to respond to Hillary Clinton's claims that his campaign has lied about her. More real news coming up on CBS This Morning, next.
Just into the news.
Kentucky, we hear you. There's more real news every morning on CBS This Morning. Right after WKYT This Morning, your most watched station.
Time is 6:50, and welcome back.
Yes, and that guy did get a ring for that lady.
Right, you could
Yeah.
see the video that she had the ring there as I was reading the story. So there you go. It's
Yeah,
a good
happy
ending
ending
to all of that. And we have a lot going on this morning. Here are some of our top stories.
With no agreement on a state budget in sight, Governor Matt Bevin has ordered immediate funding cuts to all Kentucky public colleges and universities.
The immediate cuts include 4.5% in state funding for each college and university. The governor cited a state law that allows him to reduce allotments for executive branch agencies. Governor Bevin initially proposed the cuts when unveiling his budget in January, saying that the money will go toward paying back the state's pension debt. The governor's order comes as state lawmakers are locked in a stalemate right now over a state budget plan moving forward for the next 2 years. Budget talks between House and state Senate leaders broke down again yesterday. The Republican-controlled Senate is insisting on those cuts for higher education, but the Democratic-controlled House is refusing to cut the funding.
We unfortunately have reached an impasse that I don't think we can resolve today, and it is just one of those things that we will continue. We still have days, but there may or may not, but I agree with the Speaker. We have done the best we can at this point in time.
With the legislative session winding down, if an agreement is not reached by April 12th, the governor would have to call a special session to avoid a state government shutdown when the current budget ends on June 30th. A special session, by the way, costs taxpayers roughly $70,000 a day.
3 people who claim they were assaulted at a Donald Trump rally in Louisville are now suing the GOP presidential frontrunner. One of those protesters is just 17 years old. The other, a 21-year-old University of Louisville student who is seen being shoved by 2 people at the rally. WDRB-TV in Louisville says the lawsuit accuses a white supremacist and a Korean War veteran of assaulting the 3 protesters. It also alleges that Trump incited a riot at his rally by repeatedly calling for the protesters to be removed. The billionaire frontrunner met privately Thursday with RNC chairman in Washington to discuss delegate allocation and party rules. The latest polls show Trump in a tight battle with rival Ted Cruz in Wisconsin, which holds its crucial primary next week. Other polls show him struggling to gain ground among women voters.
Our time this morning is 6:53, and a man accused of robbing a veteran in Lexington is expected to be arraigned later this morning. Police say David Kirk Jr. turned himself in yesterday. A warrant was issued for his arrest a day prior. Last week, police say he pulled a gun on a volunteer and stole a donation jar from the Veterans Outreach, which was located outside the Walmart on New Circle Road. The gun is something we just learned about this morning. A veteran collecting money was injured while trying to stop Kirk.
This morning, Tesla says reservations for its new, more affordable car are pouring in. The electric car maker unveiled its new Model 3 last night. As Don Champion reports, it will prove to be the most serious test yet for the company.
The wait is over for the car that could make electric automobiles go mainstream.
This is really important for the future of the world.
Tesla CEO Elon Musk says the Model 3 can go 215 miles per charge and 0 to 60 in 6 seconds. Priced at $35,000, the vehicle is the company's first dive into the high-volume, affordable car market.
You will not be able to buy a better car for $35,000 or even close.
Earlier Tesla models suffered some design problems and production delays. Analysts say that has to change this time around.
And so people are expecting this car to be another breakthrough moment. I talked to an auto executive who said, we expect Tesla to innovate. This was an auto executive from the big three. The question is, can they execute? That's the question.
To help with production, Tesla built its own battery factory. The Model 3 will ship at the end of 2017. Don Champion, CBS News, New York.
Tesla says more than 115,000 Model 3s have been reserved so far.
All right, we'll see how it goes for them. Our time this morning is 6:55 on this first day of April on WKYT.com. We will be following up as lawmakers return to Frankfort today, still without a budget and now reacting to Governor Bevin's order that immediately slashes state allocations to the state's universities. We'll be following up this budget battle ongoing in Frankfort. Also on our website, the full story about the decision to cancel the Spoon Bread Festival in Berea. The mayor and some other leaders called on the festival to ban the sale of Confederate flags and Confederate merchandise. There's been lots of controversy about that, but it is off for this year. Things have settled down after last night's storms across parts of the Commonwealth. We have video of some of the damage in western Kentucky and in the Louisville area. And also, we have some beautiful pictures up from some of those double rainbows and other sights that people caught last night. You can go to Micah Harris, WX, and see his forecast and also some of those great pictures that are coming in on Twitter this morning. Well, this weekend is a great chance to get out and plan for those spring and summer projects for your home or backyard. The 41st Annual Home and Garden Show kicks off later today at Rupp Arena and Heritage Hall. You can get ideas and advice, see what your options might be for sprucing up your place. On Kentucky.com, more about the potential budget crisis looming in Kentucky. Also, a federal judge has ruled that Kentucky cannot ban corporations from donating to political campaigns. And CBS This Morning is coming up at 7 with your eye opener. And there they are, getting ready to go at the CBS Broadcast Center. They'll have the latest from around the world and some special guests in studio this morning as well. Join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. And for the latest anytime, WKYT.com.
Showers in the east will move out here within the next few hours. I'd say by 9, maybe 10 a.m. They're long gone. Temperatures, cooler air is rushing on in, and we get in toward the afternoon, guys, right around 62 degrees. So a really good day in store is that rain moves out early this morning.
All right, thank you so much. And nobody's more up to date than you to start your day. Have a good one.